Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will be discussing a very important topic, that is the SEBI IRDAI Regulatory Sandbox, and we will also discuss about the RBI Sandbox. So as you all know, this is a very important topic for your UPSC preparations, for your SEBI examination preparations, for your RBI grade B exam preparations, for your IRDAI or any banking related exams. So this is a very important topic. Now if we look at UPSC particularly, in your prelims examination as well as in your mains examination, RBI is a very important topic. In your prelims examination, if you look at the previous year question papers, you will see that there is at least one question that is related with RBI, any of the recent actions taken by RBI, any of the regulatory mechanisms adopted by RBI. So such type of questions is a sure short question in every preliminary examination. This is because RBI is the central bank of Indian economy and the role of RBI as a regulator is very important and very significant. So RBI related every year for your UPSC preliminary examination there will be one question. Now in your mains examination of UPSC, so in your civil service mains examination in GS Paper 3, RBI as a regulator of monetary system is very important. Now, the initiatives taken by RBI, the steps taken by RBI, these are all very, very important. Now, other competitive examinations like the SEBI, RBI Grade B or IRDAI or banking related examination, RBI itself is a very important topic, and the initiatives taken by RBI, again it stands very important. So in this lecture we will be looking at what is RBI Sandbox and now the recent current affair regarding SEBI and IRDAI regulatory sandboxes. So we will look into the details of it, but before that, this is our channel StudyIQ and we are providing pen drive courses for various competitive examinations including SSC and bank courses, UPSC optionals, SSC JE courses, teaching examination, railway examination, defense examination, RBI grade B, NABARD grade A, UGC NET, UPSC Civil Services Examination, CLAT exams for various state PSCs and also for various professional courses. You can visit our website www.studyiq.com for more details, or you can call to any of these numbers for more information. So let us first understand what is meant by a regulatory sandbox or what is the RBI sandbox. Now if we look at the background of this RBI sandbox, RBI had set up an inter-regulatory working group in the year 2016, and the primary function of this working group was to look into and report on the aspects of Fintech implications. So Fintech is a dynamic field, that is financial technology. So this working group had to come up with recommendations in order to how to respond to the dynamics of rapidly evolving Fintech scenario. And the report of this working group was released in the year 2018. And one of the important recommendations of the working group was to introduce an appropriate framework for a regulatory sandbox, or what we call as ARS. So it was according to the recommendation of the working group RBI introduced the sandbox. Now let us understand what is this sandbox. So a regulatory sandbox, or what we call as an RS, usually refers to a live testing of new products and services. So this is a live testing. Suppose a new product or a new service is introduced. So we have to check or we have to test what are the pros and consequences of this new product or service. So this testing will take place in a regulated environment or a regulatory environment. So under this regulatory environment, the regulators, whether it is SEBI, whether it is IRDAI, that is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. So these regulators will relax certain regulations. So relaxation of certain regulations is done. So within this regulated environment, the regulators, that is whether it is SEBI, IRDAI, anybody can conduct the testing. So this regulatory sandbox will allow the regulator, the innovators and the financial service providers and the customers to conduct field tests. So they can collect the evidence on both the benefits as well as the risk associated with the new technology, new products or the new services. So we can say that RS or Regulatory Sandbox is a very important tool, a dynamic tool that will regulate the environments of new businesses, new products and new services, that is emerging technologies. So now let us briefly see what are the advantages of Regulatory Sandbox. First of all, this will foster the concept of learning by doing. So here the pros and the consequences are understood by allowing the product to function in the market without strict regulations. That is, before regulatory approvals, they are given an opportunity for live testing. So here learning is done by doing or on an experimental basis. So this is the first and foremost importance. Now secondly, this RS or the Regulatory Sandbox can test the product's viability without the need for a larger or expensive rollout. So the viability of the project could be tested without investing much money into the experimental process. Now thirdly, this will provide solutions that can further increase the financial inclusion. And fourth, the Regulatory Sandbox is beneficial to the customers because this will provide an increased range of products and services, and this are made available to the customers after an experiment. An experiment or an analysis of cost and benefits is done, and also the consequences are taken into consideration. Therefore, the customers will have an informed choice and also a wide range of financial services and products available for them. So this is Regulatory Sandbox in brief. Now let us move on to SEBI and IRDAI. So SEBI and IRDAI, after the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, has released a draft framework for setting up of Regulatory Sandbox, they are also ready to launch similar initiatives. So we will look into this in detail. So we have seen in detail what is the draft RBI's framework on Regulatory Sandbox and what are the advantages and how this will happen. All these things we have discussed. Now let us understand SEBI and IRDAI preparing themselves to set up the Regulatory Sandbox. So as we said in the beginning, RBI has produced or given the draft on the RS or Regulatory Sandbox. Now the market regulator SEBI and the insurance regulator IRDAI. So under the draft guidelines we have seen that this is applicable for regulators. So SEBI is market regulator and IRDAI is insurance regulator. So they have already announced that they are bringing up initiatives that will encourage technical startups, especially the financial tech, that is Fintech, by making data and systems available to them through the RS or Regulatory Sandbox. Now let us first come to SEBI. SEBI is the market regulator. So SEBI is proposing an innovation sandbox. So this will test the environment where the fintech firms and entities that are not regulated by SEBI, which includes individuals also, they can test their proposed solutions offline. Offline here means that out of live market. So isolated from the live market, they can test their proposed solutions offline. And in case of IRDAI, that is insurance regulator, they have recommended setting up a regulatory sandbox to test new digital and technology based innovations. So the IRDAI sandbox, an applicant should have a net worth of rupees 10 lakh and also a proven financial record of at least 1 year. So these are the eligibility conditions for IRDAI. So SEBI has not specifically provided eligibility conditions, but if they meet some of the eligibility conditions, they can also apply for a sandbox. So hope you have understood what is the concept of sandbox, how it works and what are the advantages, how it will promote innovation, how it will help the customers with better products and services. I hope this concept is understood. So as I said in the beginning, this is a very important topic for any competitive examination, especially RBI, SEBI, IRDAI examination, UPSC exams, etc. So for UPSC especially, because most of the topics that we deal with, it deals with UPSC, we discuss it in UPSC perspective. I tell you, for your prelims examination, this is sure that you will get at least 1 or 2 questions from RBI. So recent initiatives of RBI, publications of RBI, all these are very important. So your prelims examination is due on 2nd of June. So for that, when you prepare, remember to prepare the initiatives of RBI, the terms that are related to RBI or RBI regulations, for example, prompt corrective action, RBI's regulatory sandbox, or the excess of revenue or the issue of reserves with RBI. So such type of topics are very, very, very important. So please remember to go through these topics, and if you have already learned these topics, please remember you should make a quick revision of these topics before 1 or 2 days of your examination, so that you will remember the concepts clearly and you will be able to apply it in your exams. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.